Okay, Ilya, welcome to the YouTube channel for me, Mukund, and I'm going to talk a little bit about just investments in general. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach. We're going to talk to Ilya, and Ilya is an entrepreneur and also someone that has bought a few businesses, not just invested in stocks, but also invested in a few businesses. Ilya, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mukund, for inviting me. It's great to be here.
And you are located where in Ukraine?
Yes, currently I'm in Kiev, Ukraine. So I was here when the war started, and I'm here during the war time. So I've seen a bunch of different things here and keep building my startups
It's
during this
amazing.
challenging time.
That's amazing. So Kiev is not is it possible for you to be able to build and run a business out of Kiev, given so much of the stuff that's going on right now there?
Yes. At the start, it was risky because when everything started on February, then March, it was too dangerous because we experienced a lot of shelling from Russia. We experienced lights issues. We've heard a bunch of sirens every day, like 10, 12 sirens every day. So you're sitting in the shelter with the book,
Wow.
for example, or with your dog and just waiting when they finish shelling, and then you just go to work. So first 6 months was very challenging for me, for my family, for everyone who was in Ukraine at that time. But currently, uh, um, today I walked with my wife and with the dog. Everything seemed like a normal life.
Excellent.
It's much better. So I think this is because of the situation that currently on the front line, and it becomes better and better. So I'm grateful for this.
That's great. So tell me about your journey. You actually bought a company, I think, and then you started an agency business to be able to do development. And then now you're doing Microns. Talk to me about your journey overall, the last couple of years or 3 years, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So first of all, before the agency, before I bought any business, I was working on a few agencies as a front-end developer. I I develop React-based, Next.js-based applications on the web, mobile apps on the React Native. So I worked in a few agencies before, so I had some experience in the development. Um, I knew how backend works. I knew how the front end works. I didn't know much about the marketing, sales, and entrepreneurship at all. But I always wanted to become an entrepreneur as my father. And for this reason, I started learning how everything works inside the agency where I worked on. When I learned a bunch of stuff about it, when the COVID started, I was fired and I decided I need to start my agency because um, that's the right time for me.
This was
The
in
time,
2020, March, April, right?
yes, exactly. Almost 3 years ago, and I started an agency. It was challenging time because I lived off on my money that I saved from working
Right.
on previous work. So and the agency didn't earn um, almost didn't earn anything because we tried to build everything from scratch. I had a partner. I had a partner from sales, and I worked on the tech side of things. We worked together for 6 months before we landed our first customer. We were happy at the time. I guess we earned our $300 from the time that we acquired the first
Yeah, so
customer.
you spent 6 months trying to get a client, and then you got your first client, and they gave you a project for $300.
No, we've got $300 each. Like it was $1,000 project. My partner received 300, I received 300, and we spent 400 on the contractor. So that was
Very nice, very
our
nice. That's how
first
you got
business.
started. Very small beginnings, but good.
Yes, and then we started growing. Um, More and more people started working remotely. They started hiring freelancers. We've built the culture of the remote work because previously I had around 5 years of experience working on remote companies. I knew how process worked there, and we've built the agency. Currently, we have 6 full-time employees working for us, but previously we only had one. So after 2 years, we have 7 customers. We have a properly built system that work for us. I spend around 2 or 3 hours every day on my agency, so we optimized every communication, every process. So after this, when we optimized everything, we started looking at the other side of businesses, like having our agency as a productized type of agencies, because previously we only sell our developers to other companies, so they build product. We just outsourced this work, but this is just a simple part that you can start your agency. And then we started looking at other ways how we can grow the agency, because hiring a bunch of staff look cumbersome for us. So we decided to look at the product side of businesses by acquiring or building some kind of startups.
That's how you got into building and acquiring businesses.
Yes, exactly. So
So tell me
we
about Microns. How did you get started with Microns?
when we acquired our first startup, I figured out that there is a huge demand for small projects. Later, I called them micro startups. So these kind of things that have small teams, mostly they are a bootstrapped project. They aim for specific niche in their market. They are very small, so everyone can run them themselves. So you don't need to hire any developer, or you don't need to be a guru in the marketing field to run those projects. And I figured out when we acquired this kind of project, I figured out that many people reach out to this seller, and they wanted to acquire this kind of project that had only like $100 in annual revenue. And I found that micro acquire from the start, they're aiming for larger projects.
Right.
Yeah,
Acquired.
I
Now
listened.
they're acquired.com.
Yeah, now they acquired, but when they started, they were
Micro acquired.
micro. Yeah, but Andrew always told that they aim to serve everyone in the market. It means that I think they plan to grow, and when they took their first investments, it was clear for me that they will go to the upper level of the market, so
So
into
there are a lot
$1 million
of
startups.
there are a lot of players in the micro acquiring space, right? Flippa gives you websites. There's micro acquire or acquired.com. There is Empire Builders. There are a lot of them. Each of them have a little bit of a different focus on it. How would you say Microns is different from, say, Flippa or any of the other guys?
Sure. The first thing is size. So we serve small projects under 100K in asking price. And the second part, your business um, should be like in the category that we accept. So we don't accept affiliate sites. We don't accept most of the sites that you can find on Flippa. We are aimed on the um, uh, tech startups like mobile apps, web apps, micro SaaS, communities, directories, maybe some, newsletters, for example. So those kind of businesses, they were undeserved for a long time. And for example, Flippa, they also have some kind of e-commerce and other stuff, but they don't have as much as indie hacking projects like we have, for example. And Acquire is pretty similar to our model because everything is started from inheriting Andrew in this field. So I appreciate Andrew, and he's a great founder and building the good marketplace. But I figured out that Acquire, they're going in the upper level. Flippa also, they focused on bigger acquisitions, like their average acquisition is around 500K. So it's actually higher than we serve. And also
So,
we try
if a
to
new
serve.
founder is looking to acquire, did you acquire your first company paying money down? How did the financing work for your first acquisition, and how does the financing work for a lot of the acquisitions on Microns?
So we just pay the full amount with the escrow service. So we didn't divide the payments into some kind of partial buyouts. No, we didn't do this. We just fuel the full amount of money into the escrow and then go from there. So all of the acquisitions that I see on Microns, they're either fully paid, like they use some kind of escrow service to transfer assets and buy and receive money, or they use partial payments. So, for example, you set some kind of milestones, and for example, on the first milestone you pay 20% of the amount of the startup, for example, and the sellers provides you some kind of documentations or access to some kind of social media accounts or code or email list. It depends. So then you provide like 30% payment, and they provide you access to other parts of the applications. So they transfer all of these accesses during this kind of milestones approach. But
Are
what I
most
see
of
right now.
Sorry, I was going to ask you, are most of the buyers in the US, or are they all over the world? And are most of the sellers all over the world? Where are the buyers and the sellers located?
80% of the buyers are from US, 20% of the buyers are from Europe and Asia. In terms of sellers, we have a pretty different picture here. 80% of sellers based in the Europe, and 20% of the sellers from US and Asia.
So it's almost as if you're providing a very good market for being able to have companies outside of the US be able to sell small projects, obviously, in micro startups, to be able to sell to the US based buyer, as opposed to, in a lot of places, for example, if you look at empire builders, it tends to be largely a US to US, US based sellers, US based buyers. Acquired, of course, is big and they're going across the board, but even they tend to be a lot more US based.
Yeah, exactly. We are worldwide too. So, because currently you can use any service, any escrow service to transfer digital assets. So there is no border that limits you. You don't need to travel to another country to sign a contract, to sign an agreement that you buy these companies. So in this century of the information technologies, you can do this from your home. So it became easy to do, and we always try to serve the undeserved markets. For example, I saw that most of the sellers, they're from Europe, and they build some kind of micro SaaS and web apps. So and I also have experience developing those projects because I know I have experience, and I think that's because we have pretty straight focus on them. So we have around 90% of the projects, there are like custom built apps,
Websites and apps
mobile
and
and
websites and
webs.
apps. Tell me a little bit about the profile of the buyer. What kind of people tend to buy? I know they're from the US. Are they entrepreneurs themselves? Are they businesses? Are they people that are looking to buy into a business so they can grow it? Or are they looking to buy into the business so they can add it to the things they have? What is the profile of the buyer?
Yeah, exactly. You already highlighted a few personas. So they're so different. For example, I chatted with a lot of buyers on Microns, and I found a few different personas. So the first persona is the person who works full time on their day job. For example, it could be development, it could be marketing, it could be a designer, for example, or a project manager, and they're working on their day job. They want to switch from their day job into entrepreneurship. So they're looking some kind of side project to start with. They are trying to um, they don't want to risk, so they are trying to find some kind of small project they can start with, they can learn from, and then go big from there.
Okay.
We have another type of buyers. They are already established entrepreneurs. For example, one of them has an analytics company that earns like 50K MRR, 70K MRR, and they're looking for some kind of new projects they can add either to their existing product, to the analytics itself. They have an audience, they already have a user base they can market to. So they're more like strategic buyers. So they're looking for either project that could power up their existing business, or they can just make it horizontally scalable. So,
Right.
so something
So
like
there are
this.
people that are looking for a side project. They have a day job. There are people that they have a business. They want to expand with new products. Are you seeing, since it's small right now, you're not seeing companies come in and say, we want to buy micro acquisitions or micro teams, right? Because most of the cases, it seems like Microns, the project is sold. It's not the people. So the people don't come along with the project, I would imagine, right? Or am I wrong?
Yes. But we had a case where the project was sold, and those people, the buyer and the sellers, they're partner up on this project,
Right.
and the buyer provided some cash and some kind of experience, and the seller used that cash to build the project further, to grow it, and they partner up. But most of the project they're sold. It means like asset purchase agreement. They're sending the assets within this product, and it's mostly one person working on the product. So the people actually they provide a post-sale support after they sell the product, and then go with another project they want to build. For example,
Right.
they don't leave with the project, so they don't actually stay within the project.
Yeah, it seems to me right now that there are two ways to look at this. One was investment bankers before would do this work, but they would not be able to take care of the small businesses or the micro businesses because the amount of money they can make, for example, if they sell a business for $5 million, they take 6%, 8%, even 10% commission. it's not enough for them to be able to justify, but now you're providing a means and mechanism to be able to do it online. It reduces that friction, reduces that percentage that is usually going to the investment banker. You talked about obviously escrow. How do you prevent fraud, or how do you prevent the ability to be able to make sure that someone tells you this is the actual project? Besides looking at things like Google Analytics and looking at payments, there may be some people who are a little bit worried about buying something without actually seeing the project owners or seeing the project in detail. How do you take care of that?
Yeah, first of all, as a marketplace, I set some kind of acceptance criteria for buyers and sellers. So to actually prevent fraud, on the first step, we verify our buyers and sellers. So we manually verify every person who joins the network. So to provide more quality service, to have more intelligent people, kind people on the platform without any tire kickers, without any scammers. We pre-vet every single person that interacts with each other. So that's the first step. Another step, we suggest our sellers and buyers to use escrow service even if they transact through our platform, because we can verify every person, but you never know what to expect and in what case to be prepared. So people are different, and that there could be situations, some issues and misalignments, misexpectations. So we always recommend to use escrow services to pay for your project, to sell when you sell the project. So don't do any acquisitions without escrow service. We highly encourage people to do this. And I think that the main point that people should make it as a standard when they acquire every business, no matter the platform. So when they understand this key point, there wouldn't be a chance that some kind of scammer could fraud you or could make some kind of actions that we couldn't revert. So till this day, we didn't have any problems with it.
And how long has Microns been around?
Almost 2 years.
2 years. And how many companies have bought and sold, or how many projects have been bought and sold in Microns?
53 or 56. We always have acquisitions in progress. So yesterday I received an email that another project was acquired. So we are still small, but yeah.
It's getting started. That's all the important thing is, right?
Yeah.
How long does it take from the time a buyer puts a project for sale on average? The 50 projects, how long have they taken to be able to sell?
On average, from 1 week to 4 weeks. So on average, 1 month, I would say, because some projects, they receive immediate engagement and interaction, so they could be sold within 1 day. So the fastest acquisition we had within 1 day. So we just publish the project on the site, we send the newsletter, and voila, it was acquired within an hours. Yeah. We also had experience that one project was sold after 3 months. So they found the suitable buyer in 3 months. So we had this case. But on average, if the project is profitable enough, it could be sold within 1 month period.
You guys don't charge a fee right now. How do you plan to monetize Microns?
We already monetize through subscriptions, similar as Acquire. We charge buyers flat fee every month. Currently, it's very popular annual subscriptions. We charge because this model it's validated and we saw that it just increased the quality of
Right.
leads and
If someone
quality
wants
of
to pay
buyers.
for looking at good deal flow, then they are validating that they're interested in good deal flow anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that you said deal flow, because that's exactly, they receive the deal flow. We have a community, we have a newsletter that dedicated to this.
Yeah, I've been subscriber to your. I'm
We,
going to join
yeah.
Micron's Premium. I haven't done it yet, but another thing that I've seen, Ilya, is there are a lot of. I don't know why um, we didn't talk about it, but I'm going to quickly ask you this question. I've seen a few micro PE funds. Have you heard of them? So these are very
Yeah.
small, less than $1 million raised funds that are looking to buy small companies and run it like a business. There are quite a few on the Amazon seller side. Some of them are not micro, some of them are very big, right? For example, Thrasio is a $1 billion company. They acquire Amazon sellers. Just like that, there are small micro PE funds, they're calling themselves. There are about at least 20 of them that I've talked to, I've seen. What do you think about those? Are they interested in microns? Have you talked to anybody so far? What's your experience been?
I think it was one, I think it was micro P firm. It was called XOXO Capital, if you know it. XOXO Capital. So they acquire small businesses and they grow them. And one of the businesses and use cases that I talked with them, they acquired Twitter tool. When the Musk bought Twitter, they acquired this Twitter tool on Micron that we published. And they grow it from, I would say, $400 RRR, not MRR,
Annual
but
recurring, yeah.
RRR. Yeah, annual recurring revenue from 400 into 4,000 annual revenue within 2 months.
Wow.
So I was crazy, because they have experience growing, and they had grown this tool using this tool itself. So it was a Twitter DM tool that could cold
Awesome.
outreach other people, and they proposed this tool using this tool.
That's awesome.
Uh,
That's a great meta
it was
story.
crazy stretch. Yeah, it was
Um,
crazy
that's
how they
awesome, Ilya.
leverage the
Listen, it
product.
was it was terrific talking to you. I'm inspired by your story. I hope you continue to do very, very well. And it was very inspiring to hear about how you're doing it, even though you guys have got a lot of challenges going on in Ukraine right now. I'll continue to keep you posted. I'm going to definitely join Microns as a subscriber. I've done one acquisition so far. I want to do more of them, obviously. I've not done it on Microns. I did it just offline. Uh, and is there anything else that you think you want to talk to? Most of my audience tends to be people that are investors, more on the they have a job, they want to invest, whether it's in a fund or they want to invest in a company. What would be the things that you have learned? Maybe one or two things that you might tell them that might help them in the journey.
Um, the first thing that I learned the hard way is to never give up. So I had a few situations when we started. So as you know, marketplaces, they're hard to start because you have a chicken and egg problem, and you need to have supply and demand like immediately. And it was a really tough problem. I wanted to challenge themselves with the tough problems, and it was the one that um, after 1 year of running Microns, I had different thoughts, and I almost gave up at that time. Thankfully, to my growth partner and my wife, I didn't give up. So I'm thankful that they support me. And I want to say that if you have thoughts and if you see that everything against you, and you fail with something, never give up, because if you die, you never know what happens next. So for us, it was a really hyper growth. So we've grown to a 30K ARR at the next year. So if I gave up, I didn't know what could happen with me. I'm thankful, and I'm thankful to my wife, to my growth partner who supported me, and I think you should always have a person near you that could support you, that could help you. Just easier to not give up, to not die. So if you don't die, you have all
Thriving.
chances to success.
Thank you, Ilya. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for the time. Appreciate your taking the time to do YouTube, and keep following each other on Twitter, and keep continuing to follow Microns.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much,
Good luck.
Mukund.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.